Hey guys, how's it going? Pawinning here. Welcome back to the channel. It's awesome to have you guys here for another video. So in today's video, I just got the car washed at the car wash, and I finally found some time today to actually install one of the mods that has just been sitting in the living room at my apartment for a long time. And I'll show you guys what it is right here. So a couple months ago, I made a purchase of a couple parts from Edge Autosport. So huge shout out to JP and his team for getting the parts set up for me and helping me understand what parts work for my car, especially since it's a 2020 Civic Si. In today's episode, we're going to really work with these Rally Armor mud flaps. If you guys haven't seen my old videos, you guys know that I've installed OEM style mud flaps in my 2017 Honda Civic Si, but I really wanted something to look a little bit more aggressive on the new Civic. Aside from that, the other parts that I have planned to install that I purchased from Edge Autosport was a white line motor mount insert, rear motor mount insert that is. I'm really curious how much of a difference this would make because I do know that there are plenty of different options to go with a rear motor mount, but I'm not looking for something too aggressive. And because this was relatively cheap, I think it was about $25 or so, and I've seen plenty of people run a couple products from White Line, so I'm excited to try this out in another video, so I'll save that for the next one. In addition to that rear motor mount insert, I also purchased lowering springs. These are Eibach lowering springs. I believe it's a 1-inch drop, something modest. This is going to be something that gives me a little bit more of an aggressive look without actually sacrificing the usability of the car, especially because I'm going to be driving in so many different driveways, different road conditions and stuff, so I don't want to lower the car too much. All right, so taking a look at what's in the box here. Whoa, everything is in one big piece of plastic. That's pretty cool. Alrighty. Wow, that's literally what's all in the box. It's all kind of just all neatly packaged. The first thing we're pulling out is all the mounting hardware. Right there. It says around the label that it's for a 2017 to a 2019 Honda Civic Si. So if I run into any issues, I'll let you guys know what actually doesn't end up fitting, but pretty confident this should work. Next thing, of course, is the mounting brackets. Now, I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, but I have installed similar mud flaps before on my buddy Eddie's Civic Type R, so hopefully these brackets and the way they mount are very similar. But I think, if I remember correctly, you really do have to kind of bend the actual brackets into the fender liner on the car itself. Sorry that the audio quality is kind of off today. I'm literally just sourcing raw audio from the GoPro I'm filming on today. Oh, heck yeah. See, I love it when companies take the time to really put an effort into their install guides. And just looking through this, they do a really good job in showing all the hardware you should expect in the kit, where every single piece is going to go, how it's supposed to look on the car. Even though it's in black and white, I can clearly see all the mounting points, all of the screws, all of the OEM equipment, and how it fits and how it looks pretty clearly. So good job to Rally Armor for actually including this. Okay, so the last thing in the bag are the mud flaps. They do a pretty nice job neatly packing all of them into paper sleeves. So it's nice, it doesn't scuff anything up, but I don't really think that really matters too much because if you've installed mud flaps, you're expecting debris to fly right into it. So I'm curious to see how well this glossy sheen is going to last, especially daily driving the car. I think this is going to look really cool. I think the black goes really well with the color of my car. I think it matches almost perfectly. This black shade is probably a little bit lighter, but yeah, I think it's going to look really cool. Alright guys, so literally halfway into installing that front driver's side mud flap, I actually had to wrap things up and go to work for the family business. So if you guys aren't really familiar on what I'm doing nowadays, aside from all the videography work that I'm doing for Acute Instruments, I'm also, especially in this day and age with all the circumstances happening around the world right now, I've been trying to help out the family business. So that's pretty much why the rate of videos on my channel have been pushed out a little bit longer. But honestly, I think that time crunch actually gave me the chance to really do one side of the car first. So I actually just wrapped up the install of the rear driver's side mud flaps. So now I have a really solid understanding on how to actually install the mud flaps and gather all the little tips and tricks that I found to be useful, so I can show you guys now on the second side as I install the rest of these mud flaps. Oh man, there is a special place in hell for these plastic clips here. So after you push the center pin out, first of all, it's gone forever once you do that, unless you can find it somewhere inside the body panels. Besides that, it's really difficult to kind of work the side tabs there. I couldn't really get in there with a flathead screwdriver. I had to use a 90-degree pick tool like I do in a lot of Acuity install videos. But basically using this tool to get underneath the front face here allows me to kind of turn the pick tool inwards so that I can depress one of the tabs on one side of the clip to pull it out, and then when I move on to the other side, I got to be careful not to let the side that I just worked on snap back in place. So basically using the pick tool again, you depress the tab there, and then basically once the tab is unclipped, you really can just pull this clip out. But definitely recommend you guys being really patient and taking your time removing this clip. I say to be patient because, as I mentioned before, with the first side that I worked with, I was rushing and I accidentally tried prying the actual clip out, and that basically damaged the tabs on the side so that they expanded out further, and I really couldn't get in there with even a pick tool, so I ended up having to break the clip in order to actually get it free from the metal tab of the fender liner. So just giving you guys that piece of advice, so hopefully you guys don't have a difficult time with the same plastic clip. Okay, so it's been a little bit since I've installed these mud flaps. It's been probably about 2 weeks or so now. Hopefully you guys found that the installation of these mud flaps was pretty straightforward. Let me just get outside the car and show you guys how they've held up so far. All right, so to evaluate the front mud flaps first, as you can see, it's kind of dirty right now. I've actually taken the car through, I want to say, 2 to 3 car washes since installing these mud guards. You can see that it's pretty dirty now, but if you were to kind of rub away the dirt a little bit, you can see that the gloss sheen is holding up pretty well so far. Still not sure how long this would last, of course, now that it's going to be facing a lot more abuse on the road. Now, to evaluate the fitment, I think they did a really good job, especially with choosing to cut slots where the mounting locations are, so you can really fine-tune the fitment of this mud flap on the side of the car. And in the time that these mud guards have been installed, I found that it's actually pretty sturdy. Nothing has really loosened over time. I really actually like the washer that they use to space out the back mounting points so you can really keep the alignment consistent with this mud flap. Moving to the back, I can apply the same comments with the front mud flaps to the rear mud flaps. The exception to those comments is the actual bracket that helps affix this mud flap to the actual bumper and holds the rear back portion of this mudguard in place. At first I was really worried about how much this can actually flap around, and you can kind of see that it's not as rigidly affixed as the front mud flap because the front mud flap is affixed to basically the fender liner, which is plastic, and you can see that in the rearmost part of this fender liner it's kind of like this soft fabric or felt material. So I do think that the bracket was a good design feature, but despite how much I've been concerned with how it's mounted, I haven't really had any issues with this falling off or loosening up as well. But I'd love to hear more of your comments below. To any of you guys that own the same set of mudguards and have put them through more aggressive driving conditions. Alright guys, so that pretty much wraps it up for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like below and also consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram as well if you guys want to see even more up-to-dates on all my projects and parts. Huge thank you goes out again to JP and his team at Edge Autosport for getting me set up with all these parts again. Definitely check out their website below. I'll leave links to the products in the description. They have plenty of parts for these 10th gen Civics, so hopefully you guys find something you like on their website. So that being said guys, my name is Pawinning, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.